In this lonely ass world, it's getting colder. I'm not going nowhere if I cannot take my boat there. My mind was bred a little different, yeah, from my own past. If I see heat, why the fuck would I wanna go there? Mama, I make you smiling. Mama, your little nigga came from wildin'. Mama, always got in trouble, I was shouted. Mama, now I'm staring at shit. Mama, I'm the pilot. Mama, if I want something, I'ma go get it. Mama, swim with the sharks, piranhas, and fishes. Mama, it's so hard down here, God is my witness. Mama, I know where I'm going. Mama, I'm a fan. It's hard not knowing who is really gonna be there for me. I wish you could be here to see me the day I start touring. Shit be on my mind every second when I'm not recording. I'm waking up conversating with the Lord every morning. I mistakenly took the wrong path, I had to rewind. I fumbled trying to move too fast, I had to keep trying. Growing up, I got in trouble, told myself to keep lying. So much stress be building up, swear I be needing me time.
Good morning. Good morning to the DMV and the rest of the world. This is your girl, Reese, aka Best That Ever Did It. And I am back this morning. Today is Monday, January the 9th. Is it the 9th? Yeah, 9th. January the 9th. And and we're back. This is the week before the government get their good holiday, because next Monday is the holiday, because we're going to be celebrating Martin Luther King's birthday. So I want to say good morning to all of you all, and hold your seat tight, because we're ready for another show, another great show today. Well, of course, I'm not here alone. I have my co-host, Miss Bernice Smith. I'm gonna call her eyes, because she like to roll her eyes all the time. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but she can kill you with them eyes. Miss Bernice Smith, good morning, eyes. And we also here with our very own Molly Mall, $1 Million Moments super producer. He's back there behind the scenes. He's doing his thing as well. I guess when they're ready, they'll come in and jump in and say good morning to you all. But in the meantime, in between time, I'm keeping this boat afloat, honey. Yes. So I hope everybody's weekend was festive. My weekend was spent trying to track down my money from my Amazon Prime account. Yeah, I don't like doing that, because it makes me feel bad. But I also don't like people dipping their hand in the till, trying to get them extra payments in. Now, I don't know if anybody else is having problems with that, but I know I am definitely having problems with keeping my accounts on track. Good morning, all. Good morning, Slicky. Good morning, Ernest. Good morning. Where's my lady B at? I can't. Molly, is her mic mute? I don't know. I can't hear her. I see her. Did you rolling your eyes at me this morning, Brittany? I see her, but I just can't hear her. I don't know if you all can hear her. I don't know if my mic is muted or not. But she just popped out. But today I thought it would be a good week to talk about civil rights, because we got to know what is our civil rights. What was it? What it mean? What it stand for? Well, they thought of it enough to give it its own day. Well, not its own day, but Martin Luther King, to represent the man behind the movement. That's just one of the men behind a vast, a huge, enormous movement. And I wonder why they give him the most credit for doing the March on Washington, when we all know there was a lot of pieces behind that March on Washington. And I'm just waiting for Lady B to get in here to give y'all morning tea or y'all morning tidbit or the morning news or what Molly and I like to call gossip. So as soon as she get in here, we're gonna talk about that. Cause she got the tea for y'all today. Yes, she do, honey. But this week's show, I'm back talking about the show that I had planned for this week. I thought it would be nice to enlighten our people, especially the younger people that tune in to the show, about exactly what was the civil rights movement and exactly what it is. See, they don't know or know enough about it because we didn't have to go through and experience segregation like our parents did. I know my parents experienced the segregation and the busing in the school and that separate but equal stuff. I didn't have to, when I came along, I didn't have to go through that or I didn't feel it as much. So it was like a footnote in history. But it's very live and kicking now. And we see this a lot when we do go out into the world today, that how much civil rights was needed and how much prejudice is out there. And I could just imagine some things, and I used to see pictures and hear stories, and we saw movies and documentaries about how they used to have two different water fountains, right? I'd never drink out of public water fountain anyway, but still, the one looked at all old and rusted and with water stains and stuff, and the other one was nice and white and clean. Well, that was for the whites, and the other water fountain was for the blacks. Black people didn't want to. It looked like something out of a swimming hole. They didn't want to drink that water from there because it looked like the pipes was rusty and moldy and all that stuff. And then here you got a good clean fountain that looks like it's pumping out a good H2O water, good water. It's the difference between drinking Phoebe and Aquafina. Phoebe water. So you're going to want to go to the fountain that gives you the what? The Aquafina water. Right? All right. Am I right? I was waiting for Molly. What's going on in the back? Are we having technical difficulties this morning? Can they hear me? Can they see me? I don't know. Because I feel like I'm sitting out here in the blind. Because I can't see or hear nothing. It's sabotage your foot. What's wrong with my show this morning, people? I think the sabotage is a foot. Well, let me tell y'all this quick story, right? While we waiting for them to get everything together. You oftentimes wonder when you break off or you separate from somebody, when you break up, right, with your significant other or whatever, and months go by, right? Why do they come back? What are they coming back for? They feel they got to check on you, or why do they feel like they can see you all over again? Man, I ain't seen you in 18 months, whatever, and you will come back like everything is fine, everything's brand new, all well with the world. That just puzzles me. Why do men and women do that? I can see you calling in, you checking on a person, okay, but anything more than that, what do you want? Exactly, what do you want? I'm tired of these relationship conversation and advices. They trying to test out the waters to get us. You crazy? No, that's what we not having. That's what we not doing. Good morning, Lady B. Are you with me?
I'm here for as long as StreamYard allow.
Okay. Good morning, honey.
Good morning.
I didn't hear your voice before. I said I see you, but I couldn't hear you. But I couldn't hear you. So how was your weekend?
It was fine, peaceful. We celebrated my daughter's 20th birthday. We had a good time.
That's good. That's what's up right there. That's what's up. All right. And then I was just telling the folks how my old boo, well, my ex boyfriend come calling back and like he from outer space, like we good, like everything is hunky dory with us. I'm like, no, we not. And then I was telling the people how The prime keep digging into the till, taking money when they ain't supposed to be taking money. I'm just like, I had an eventful weekend too. So hey, I'm here. I'm here with you all, and we're doing our show. So that's a blessed weekend, a great day, and all that good stuff. Girl, do you got the tea for us today?
Yeah, I got some news. I realized after doing this segment for a while why I stopped looking at the news. News will make you depressed. Do you know how hard it is to find good news, but bad news is everywhere? I swear for things. Lord have mercy.
It seemed like that's the only news we got is bad.
I mean, you can find some stories, but you have to search so long and so hard. But all the bad news sits in your face. Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm going to read all this story. 7,000 nurses at two NYC large at two of NYC's largest hospitals go on strike.
7,000?
7,000.
We're in the middle of that another resurgence of pandemic. It's already short. The hospitals are already short, and people are going in the hospital by drones because of this. The COVID still here, and 7,000 nurses are striking. Girl, you lying? Oh,
No, but what they need to do is stop playing with them like they don't need them because they do. Because in all actuality, them nurses doing more than them doctors.
yes, 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 and yes. Huh? Why they striking this time? I thought everybody got a bump increase with the money and all that.
It says nurses at two New York City's largest hospital walked off the job Monday morning in a dispute over pay and staffing levels after a weekend of negotiations failed to produce deals from two new contracts, with talks falling apart overnight. The walkouts began at 6 a.m. and involved as many as 3,600 nurses at Mount Sinai Hospital and in Manhattan, and 3,500 at Metaphor Medical Center in the Bronx. They better stop playing with these nurses. They know they need these nurses, especially with all this new COVID and all this going on. Stop playing with them nurses and pay them the money they deserve. I bet you them doctors ain't walking out. Why? Because they getting paid.
And you know it. Yeah, you know they are. You know that. They and the nurses got a union, so it's not like they're advocating on their own. They're negotiating them together. I remember when the nurses strike in Washington Hospital Center. That was a mess. And it was snowy too because they was when we got that snowmageddon, and they said if you didn't show up that you was fired. People were stuck in the snow. I worked at Washington Hospital Center then. I know it took me 8 hours to get home, and that was the year I caught pneumonia from being in the snow and cold. Because by the time I got to my house, I had to park down the hill, walk, got in the house. There was no heat, there was no electric because of snowmageddon. It was cold, baby. My son came and he was younger, way younger. He came with the blankets and laid down beside me, and we all we had was body heat. He said that I was shaking, singing, "I'm so cold, I'm so cold." He said he was waiting for me to sing "Hot Toddy."
Oh Lord.
He said, "Mom, you sound like Usher. I'm so cold, I'm so cold." And I went back and I heard the song. I said, "Dang, was I saying that over and over?" I must have been. Girl, striking on the nurses. Okay, what's the next big thing?
So this story, it says basically two men distract Brinks employee while another man run off with his money. So you say while the employee was distracted, another man swiped a bag of money that was left unattended on the bumper of the Arms Brink truck. He then fled the scene with the other men.
That sounds like an inside job if I ever heard one. Mm, mm, mm. Definitely inside job. But that's smooth. I guess that's how you do it. Am I frozen?
No. They said the man who took the bag is described as having a light complexion and a slim build. He was last
That's
seen.
Molly. Molly got the bag.
But that could be anybody. They asking for tips. Anybody, hard as it is out here, if you snitch on him, you stupid. That's the way I feel about it. Grocery sky high. Even what's her name?
Nicki Minaj. Cardi B.
Cardi B complaining about grocery prices.
She said if she complaining, she know the difference. She said she know they killing us, and she right.
She said, "Why in the heck your head of lettuce cost $6?"
The same reason why a dozen of eggs cost $7. It's ridiculous.
Okay, the next story: 5 basketball players from a university in Chicago are hospitalized after high-intensity workout. Coach temporarily removed. A suburban college postponed 2 men's basketball games after 5 players went into the hospital following a rigorous workout. University of Chicago and River Forest also has temporarily removed coach Steve Collar. The last player was released from the hospital on Saturday. Chicago identified the player as Jacob Collicott. It's been a long few days, Jacob's father said. He was, I guess, dehydrated. Plus, the muscles were breaking down and getting into his bloodstream. Wow. So, yeah, I told you. You know, it's amazing because DeMar it's almost like this boy completely recovered. We saw this man die on the football field. Basically, they said he died on the football field. Now he's back to 100% posting on social media, breathing on his own 100%, honey. Let me tell you, if you don't believe in God, something wrong with you. He ain't do it himself. Anyway, moving forward, McMills gets into alleged altercation during the Gervonta Davis fight, and he is kicked out. honey. Yeah, I heard about the altercation there. They said last night at the fight, Davis was battling Hector Garcia in their WBA World Lightweight Championship bout, but it appeared that McMill was having his own fight at ringside. On Saturday, McMill reportedly got into an alleged altercation at ringside during the fight at Capital One Arena in Washington. Reports are varied, but according to sports journalist Andre McMill allegedly was about to fight one of the Gary Russell boys. So
who is Gary Russell? Another athlete? Look, they should have put him in the ring. Anytime they're about to fight, look, do like what Monty do with his kids. Put them gloves on and put them jokers in the ring. Look, that'll solve everything. If all our fights could be solved, when people want to have an altercation, hey, get in the ring. Let everybody see. You letting everybody see anyway. Put them gloves on and really see if you good with them poles.
Washington, D.C. has been deemed one of the loneliest cities in America.
Oh, because I live here.
It's been deemed one of the loneliest cities in America. They're saying how now everybody is basically going to living alone. They said almost half of the people who live in Washington, D.C. are living alone. They said more than 150,000 residents live alone in the nation's capital. And one-person households represent almost half. 48.2% of all households are single people. There are a notable gender divide amongst those who choose to live alone. 21.5% of males live alone in D.C., while 26.7% of females do the same. We made the list for one of the loneliest cities in America. D.C. was number 1. St. Louis came in second. Alexandria, Virginia came in third. Richmond
Wait a
came in.
minute, not Virginia's is for lovers. That's what they say. Virginia's is for lovers, and they came in third as being lonely.
They came
I
in
didn't know
third.
that.
Richmond, Virginia came in number 4. Cincinnati, Ohio is number 5. Cleveland, Ohio is number 6. Number 7 was New Orleans. Number 8 is Birmingham, Alabama. Number 9, Atlanta, Georgia. And number 10, Baltimore City, Maryland.
Well, dang, the Atlanta, they lonely down there. You know what? This COVID has did a great divide and separation for us as a people, as a culture. They ain't got to worry about the population because ain't nobody hooking everybody lonely. They ain't got to worry about the baby boom. Dang, a lot of us is do we choose to be alone? We don't choose to be alone. We just
I'm going to dispute that because I choose to be alone because I refuse to settle. I'm not playing second to none. I'm not sharing none. I'm not about to play no games. God's willing, I'll be 50 in March, and you're not going to waste my time or my energy. So if I see BS, I choose to remain single until I find the one who completes me. I ain't dealing with no BS. I ain't dealing with no attitudes. I ain't got no time for none of that BS. I'm seeking peace. And if somebody can't add to that, then they can keep it stepping. Plain and simple. But I ain't going to say I ain't got options. I be looking. I be talking. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep your options open, girl. You know, because that DJ be at you every chance he get. He ain't going to stop.
Mm-hmm. Well, that DJ too young for me. I ain't even gonna get into that because that's another story by itself.
I think he just want to be your fix. I'll be your girl.
You know what? Nah, you know what? Part of me be thinking about it. Be like, but then I'm like, I don't know. I might kill him. It's been alone with this long time. But it's okay. I digress. I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing the good thing that's good for me and mine right now. So I'm gonna meet him out when we out one day. We're gonna meet our Mr. Right while we doing the show when we out. And that's another thing. We want to start going out to the communities. So if anybody got a business wouldn't mind us doing our show from their business, please contact us. Contact Molly, $1 Million Moments, or you can inbox myself or Bernice if you would like for us to come out, or if you will permit us to come out and do the Morning Mac show live from your establishment. We would love that. So as the weather break, we're going to be making a run for the border and making it do what it do, Bernice. And we may find our significant other while we out there looking fabulous, being fabulous. Girl, you got to teach me how you do that eye contact thing with your eyes, because your eyes be saying a lot of stuff. Your eyes be saying, don't play with me. Bernice got that look. She be like, it says, don't play with me. And then she got that come hither look. So you got to show me. Right now, I just be looking cross-eyed with these glasses on. Look like Mr. Magoo. So I got to get my eye game straight, And then when I don't have my eye game, I look the Asian persuasion, which I am, condition. And my eyes, why they all little slanted. I look like I'm always squinting. But hey, I digress, baby. We're talking about civil rights this week. We're going to talk about civil rights and drop little notes and little history tidbits for you all, because this is the week leading up to We Shall Overcome, leading up to the civil rights movement, leading up to the day while the government got another day off on Monday, the national holiday, MLK, how they fought for that. It boggles me, because shouldn't they give like Martin Luther King birthday and Juneteenth all that? Shouldn't that be all in the same month? Shouldn't that be like together? Because it represents the same thing, freedom, your fake freedom, because you're not really free. But we all know about that. I ain't gonna get dive too much into that. But what I do want to talk about is my guy, Bayard. Am I saying his name right? Bayard Rustin. Am I saying his name right, Bernice? Bayard. I think that's how you say it, Bayard. I was calling him Bernard or Byron, but it's Bayard Rustin. A lot of people are like, who the hell is he? But we're about to let you know and find out. Molly, show the people who he is.
His I Have a Dream speech at the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. That day, nearly 250,000 people gathered on the National Mall to demand an end to the discrimination, segregation, violence, and economic exclusion Black people still faced across the United States. None of it would have been possible without the march's chief organizer, a man named Bayard Rustin. Rustin grew up in a Quaker household and began peacefully protesting racial segregation in high school. He remained committed to pacifism throughout his life and was jailed in 1944 as a conscientious objector to World War II. During his 2-year imprisonment, he protested the segregated facilities from within. Wherever Rustin went, he organized and advocated, and was constantly attuned to the methods, groups, and people who could help further messages of equality. He joined the Communist Party when Black American civil rights were one of its priorities, but soon became disillusioned by the party's authoritarian leanings and left. In 1948, he traveled to India to learn the peaceful resistance strategies of the recently assassinated Mahatma Gandhi. He returned to the United States armed with strategies for peaceful protest, including civil disobedience. He began to work with Martin Luther King Jr. in 1955 and shared these ideas with him. As King's prominence increased, Rustin became his main advisor, as well as a key strategist in the broader civil rights movement. He brought his organizing expertise to the 1956 bus boycotts in Montgomery, Alabama. In fact, he had organized and participated in a transportation protest that helped inspire the boycotts almost a decade before. His largest scale organizing project came in 1963 when he led the planning for the National March on Washington. The possibility of riots that could injure marchers and undermine their message of peaceful protest was a huge concern. Rustin not only worked with the DC police and hospitals to prepare, but organized and trained a volunteer force of 2,000 security marshals. In spite of his deft management, some of the other organizers did not want Rustin to march in front with other leaders from the South because of his homosexuality. Despite these slights, Rustin maintained his focus, and on the day of the march, he delivered the marchers' demands in a speech directed at President John F. Kennedy. The march itself proceeded smoothly, without any violence. It has been credited with helping pass the 1964 Civil Rights Act, which ended segregation in public places and banned employment discrimination, and the 1965 Voting Rights Act, which outlawed discriminatory voting practices. In spite of his decades of service, Rustin's positions on certain political issues were unpopular among his peers. Some thought he wasn't critical enough of the Vietnam War, or that he was too eager to collaborate with the political establishment, including the president and Congress. Others were uncomfortable with his former communist affiliation. But ultimately, both his belief in collaboration with the government and his membership to the Communist Party had been driven by his desire to maximize tangible gains and liberties for Black Americans, and to do so as quickly as possible. Rustin was passed over for several influential roles in the 1960s and 70s, but he never stopped his activism. In the 1980s, he publicly came out as gay and was instrumental in drawing attention to the AIDS crisis until his death in 1987. In 2013, 50 years after the March on Washington, President Barack Obama posthumously awarded him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, praising Rustin's march towards true equality, no matter who we are or who we love.
Wow.
Rustin famously said that every community needs a group of angelic troublemakers, people willing to stand up and speak out against the status quo. And students around the world have always been uniquely positioned.
Wow. So now y'all know who Bayard Rustin is. And it's funny because he did a lot for the movement. A lot of people don't realize that he was the one they gave Martin Luther King the blueprint of the Mahatma Gandhi's teaching, because Byron Rustin traveled all over the world and abroad, and he was the one that actually brought that nonviolence back to Martin Luther King and said, this is what this guy was doing. And I found that very interesting, how he gets very little mention, but he was so powerful and so needed during that time. And the reason why he got very little mention is because he was openly gay. I don't know, the film doesn't tell you that he's from Pennsylvania. He was born in 1912, March the 17th of 1912 to be exact. And when he passed on August 28th, 1987, he had already did so much for the AIDS movement, because y'all know that was another big thing going on back in the 80s. We had the crack epidemic and the AIDS epidemic came boom boom together, and this man, this black man, is funny because he used to be a communist, and then when he found out, wait a minute, communism isn't better, honey, he brought his butt right back across the line and came back here to America and said, okay, this is not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to do the communist thing, because he was fighting for his civil liberties. And we're going to talk about that tomorrow on the show, the difference between civil rights and civil liberties. But yeah, he was a very big a communist at one point. He got locked up for 2 years in jail because he wouldn't register for the selective service. So back then, when there was the Vietnam War and all that stuff, when they was drafting people, you had to participate. They wasn't playing. But he was like, I'm not registered for no selective service. And a lot of our people got jailed. People that didn't want to go to war got jailed. Either you go to war or you going to go to jail. And I thought that was like extremely wrong. But that's what our country was doing at that time. And I think they still do it now. Something break out and you don't want your son to go off to war. If he's not the only child, he got to register for selective service. But if he's the only child to that mama, he don't have to go to the war, because that's where the bloodline will end. I don't know who made these laws up. It wasn't none of us.
Wow. Is she frozen? Oh my
In New
God.
York. He also did some time and was put on the chain gang in North Carolina for his public display of affection with another man, because he's openly gay, and he must have been holding, kissing, or something with a man publicly. And y'all know Pastor Mason Dixon line down there in the Bible Belt, they don't play. So a lot of his accolades and attributes got overshadowed or was pushed in the back in the dark, where he couldn't come out and shine because he did not want his lifestyle to dim the light of the civil rights movement. It wasn't, the world wasn't ready for gay rights back then. Okay, they wasn't ready for black rights. They wasn't ready for no rights. If it wasn't white rights, it was no rights. So at that time, he felt the movement is more powerful to get our people advanced along the color line versus who you choose to be, because that's nobody's business really. But when you do it openly and publicly, you're putting it out there on Front Street. So they got Byron in North Carolina and put the man on the chain gang, honey. But maybe he wanted to be in jail. I don't know. I ain't gonna say that with all the men. But that's just the humor and the comedian in me, But they put him on the chain gang. Just for public display of affection with the same sex. You get arrested and put on the chain gang.
I know
Maybe.
you could do it on a church top and they wouldn't care.
And then nowadays they don't care. But on the chain gang, honey. But we all knew what the chain gang was back then, is to get free labor, to get slavery again. Because once you become a prison again, you are a slave. You don't have no more rights. All your rights are revoked once you get in prison. And so that's what they was doing, was locking up a lot of our colored men for no reason at all. For jaywalking, you get locked up in jail, put on chain gang. Like that movie Life, Eddie Murphy, they joking and making light of it, but it was real like that back then for little small stuff. And that's because they needed the free labor. And once you become a prison, this is still along the lines of civil rights because, talking about discrimination and the movement, this was done to the colored people. Because once you get in prison, you could be loaned out for service. You had to work. Them chain gangs were making roads, making railways, building whatever they needed. Chain gang was doing that. Mm-hmm. Woo! So Bernice, what do you think about the little tidbit about Byron Rustin?
I don't know nothing about him.
I mean, what you saw, right?
I never heard of it.
And that's because they don't teach about him in school. I mean, if this is the man behind the movement, especially the civil rights movement, I Have a Dream, they hushed it because they didn't want to bring him to the forefront because he was gay. So, but a lot of stuff that's in a book, a lot of history is there. So that's why I thought that for the month this week, since we're moving to civil rights, just drop a little knowledge on people. Just drop a little tidbits, and you're like, hey, this is one to grow on.
What's crazy to me is how they didn't want to be discriminated against, but they discriminated against this man and never even thought about it as discrimination. So to me, I mean, a lot of them people back then, and this is just my thoughts, was full of shit. You discriminated against you discriminated against this man because of his sexual orientation, yet you on the front lines fighting against discrimination because they discriminating because of the color of skin. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. I don't understand it. It don't make sense. You're a hypocrite.
This is bigotry at its finest. And him and Martin was very good friends. And he was Martin Luther King's personal advisor.
He wasn't no friend if he ain't put him out there. This my main apple scrapper right here. He helped me through all this. He helped me learn what peaceful protesting is. No, come on now.
Yep,
That's just like me and you, Reese. We doing this show together. You always say, this my girl right here. We both doing this. How come this man, how come Martin didn't speak up for this man? You fighting discrimination, fight for it in all aspects, not just one.
Because they had to do this by little piece at a time because they couldn't take on everything. They couldn't take on the gay rights and civil rights. They couldn't.
I understand that. But discrimination, that's one title. Many things fall under it, but you're fighting for discrimination.
You're fighting for fair treatment and equality for the color of your skin. I guess they say one thing at a time. Rome wasn't built in a day, baby. And we still fighting for it. We still fighting for it now. That's why they still marching saying Black Lives Matter. Black lives always matter. They say all life matter. All lives always matter. But for you to have to say it.
A black man who was gay. That's all I'm saying. And like I said, I ain't got to agree with y'all. Y'all ain't got to agree with me, but that's my opinion, period. If you my man, and people say, don't put him on the forefront. No, he's part of this movement. He's making things happen. So, we ain't going to fight for your rights right now. You all right. That's bullshit. Period.
That's because a lot of them were scared that their own dirt will come out. Because a lot of people don't know this.
He come out. He cheated on his wife.
But a lot of them, they was flip-floppy too. They was bisexual. Why you think that he was all up in the mix? A lot of them is a lot of dirt and tea to be spilled when you go. Everybody got a past. Everybody got a history. So you can't say that I'm all good when you know your roots are in the dirt.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
We all got some dirt, but in the same token, I don't want no friends who ain't gonna stand up for me, period. And I know I'm behind you and I'm pushing. No, stand up for me. You risk your life for he risked his life for the movement, period. And this man, like I said, he was a central part of this movement. Ain't no way in the world his name should be in the background.
Yep.
No way.
Still in the back. And then with all of this, what we know, the name's still in the back. Because they don't talk about him. They don't. And then President Obama gave him a medal. Why they give the people the medal after they did? He did and gone. It would be nice if he got some recognition before he died in 1987. He was 75 years old when he passed. It would have been nice if he would have had his recognition. But it just wasn't the time. The world's not accepted. The world's not accepted of people of color.
Man, the world
is not accepted of people of gender, because women are still fighting. We still not looked upon as the same. Sexuality, color, gender.
And if you gay, you are.
Religion.
If you gay, you are.
Religion. I mean, that's it's just the gay movement surpassed the civil rights movement, because we still struggling with the civil rights. Because
I think it's part of it is because a lot of people going back, and I just told my daughter, I said a lot of people go back and they do their research and learn about history and what these people did. And I applaud them because they were the beginning of it. But stop talking about it, stop studying so you can impress somebody and do something. Sitting behind your cameras or your desk talking about it ain't doing nothing to help our ancestors' movement. So if you ain't part of it, don't tell me about it. Shut up. That's the way I feel about it. Period.
You got to be part of the movement. Your ancestors are dead. It's up to you.
That's what I just said.
You got to make that change.
That's just what I said. They too many people. Often they talk about it and everybody got all this knowledge, but what you doing with it?
They don't even want to talk about it, Bernice. They don't even want to talk about it. Like I said, how many people, before we dropped this jewel on them today, how many people knew who this man was? They don't even want to talk about it because they want to act like it didn't happen. They want to omit it. They don't want to tell you the ugly truth about the world that we live in. People want to go on with blinders, pretend that stuff never happened or this never happened, and how did we get to where we are today? We just arrived there. They don't want to know about the struggle, the fight, the grit. They don't care nothing about that. Or they know, well, as long as I don't feel it today, and people don't get involved in nothing, not until it applies to them. Mm-hmm. If they don't see it, they don't feel it, they don't want to take part of it. They don't want to take a part of it. We live in a selfish world.
You know why, DJ Slicky? He said gays have more rights than us. That's because they come together. They fight. See, a lot of times what I realize is this, like even with the gun violence thing, a lot of people don't care until it hit their doorstep. Like I said, and you ain't got to be on the front lines up at the Capitol or at the President House. What you doing in your community? It starts at your doorstep. Everybody got that, oh, I ain't talking about it. Yeah, I'm minding my business. Until it hits your door. Yeah, until it hits your door, then you all, and I need justice. Yeah, we all need justice. But what we really need is just us to step up and do something.
Yep. That's what I said. Yep. I said the same thing. I agree. Now, we're always talking about what we need to do. Do we have any ideas? How can we get this thing moving forward? I got a couple of ideas, but I guess, people don't think or don't want to hear other people's ideas. The first one is be accountable for the stuff that you do and start loving and checking on one another. The world needs more love. The world needs to be more humane. It's like we're not human anymore. It's a different feel when you walk out here in the world. For example, You could go out your door and walk through your neighborhood where we used to could. I grew up in Palmer Park. We could walk up and down the street and we would know everybody on the street. People in their front yard, we knew the community. We came together as a community. People in the front yard, like, hey y'all, hey, you speak, hey Miss Washington, hey Miss Thomas, hey Miss Jefferson, hey Miss Smith, hey Miss Robinson. Everybody knew everybody because everybody watched. The neighborhood watched. That's what we did. We watched and we took care of our own. And we knew when somebody felt sick. And we knew if somebody was ill and we lended a hand. We was true neighbors. And we looked out for each other kids. Nowadays, we selfish. We just stay up in our own home, in our own house, and get on a computer and thinking that we're helping the environment, we're helping the neighbor, we're helping the world. That's not helping us as a people. We need to be out there, shake a hand, make a friend. But everybody, especially now, everybody is so scared to even be around people. So they say. If that was the case, COVID wouldn't be spreading as rapid as it is. People pick and choose their battle. Oh, I can't go around you because, COVID. I can't go over your house. Or I can't eat with you, but you'll see them out at the casino. You see them out at the parks. You see people pick and choose their battle. But what we need to do is pick and choose ourselves and each other. We need to get our community back. We need to be able to know the children who play in our community. Who child did that belong to? Who's it? It's not a feeling, a sense of community anymore. It's totally different and it's cold. If you walk up to somebody and say, how you doing? They look at you like you crazy.
Yeah.
Like you just insulted them and called them a name.
Yeah. Look at you like you done stole their mama's soul or something.
Yeah. And then it's like it hurts you to speak back. It's like, come on, people. Where's the humanity? My solution is that we give these electronics for our youth coming up. We need to spend family time. This time we used to get together, sit down and eat dinner as a family. We don't do that no more. Where everybody at the table eating at different times, or everybody at the table on their phone. Nobody's talking, nobody communicating, nobody saying what's going on because everybody on their personal gadget. Everybody got their IP going on. IP, intellectual property. For those of y'all that don't know what I'm saying that. So, that's my solution for us to get back real, for us to put down the virtual for a minute and get back real and back in touch with people. You know what I mean? To be a community again. Because it's funny because when you knew everybody, nobody was jumping out and shooting them. When we was coming up, Bernice, did we not know everybody? They wasn't jumping at you. You see some killings, but it's not like it is now. Not like it is now. Ain't nobody gonna pull up in your neighborhood, jump out. You don't know who they are. Shoot, do mass shooting. Get back in their car, and nobody see nothing. Hear no evil, see no evil. It's just, it's sad. And this reflects it in the music. It reflects it in how we carry each other. It even a reflection of that in school. So what do we do with our children? What do we do with the future? What do we do with us? And you right. A lot of these people in the movement, there's a whole lot of people unsung heroes in the civil rights movement. And it's funny because we don't acknowledge them, but the people in the LGBTQ community, all of those people that's part of that movement, they proudly say who's helping or who's pushing, who's doing what. They proudly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They put murals on walls for people. Who is this? It's the first transgender this. Who is this? It's the first this, is the first that. You know, they saying who you with? They telling who you with. You know, and it's sad that when King was asked and they asked King, who you with? He couldn't name everybody. He had to tell his personal advisor, the one that taught him about nonviolence, don't say nothing, because I don't want people to question you. Because he was open with his.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the world wasn't ready to receive that. Just like being a big girl. I'm saying this. Being a big girl, people wasn't ready to receive us for a long time. The rest of the world had to catch up what I already knew. Me, Lizzo, Bernice, every big girl in the world. We awesome. We are freaking awesome. Okay? And we just as good as anybody else. I'm not saying we better, but we just as good. I ain't saying I'm better than nobody, but I'm just as good as anybody. Take that however you want to spend it. And look how long it took the world to catch up for that.
And now everybody want to be BBW. If you're a size 12, you're a BBW. I said, no, hon. Let's go back. Let me show you what a real BBW is. Now,
Thank you. We had stores that represent BBW, like the Forgotten Woman, Romans, Catherine's. We had a Fashion Bug Plus. We had a store called 16 Plus.
There's BBW.
You know why? Because you had to be 16 plus. That's what's considered a BBW. We couldn't go to Macy's and shop off the rack. That's why they had to create our own lane for us. Now, because all these women want to get these Brazilian butt lifts and these fake implants and the fake curves for your iceberg, y'all consider BBW. Well, I'm snatching back my title. You ain't no BBW. Come off of it, a size 12. Puh. Stay in your lane. Don't get run over. What Ludacris say? Move, beat. Get out the way. Or we going to throw them bows. When you see a big girl marching, move out the way. Because when we knock you down, it won't be funny.
You know what's
Y'all
crazy?
remember that? Get out the way when you see me coming. When I knock you down, it won't be funny. Boom. So we represent it out. The world, they just catching up with us, Bernice. So what can we say?
Yeah. I mean, it's so many different forms of discrimination. It's crazy. And that's why I feel like we all have a part. You might not be doing what I'm doing, but there's a part in which you can take place. We all have our assignments. That's what I'm going to say. We all have our assignments. And if we get up, nonetheless, if we get up and we do our assignments, I feel like other people are going to gravitate to us who are part of your assignment, and we can get things done. Now, am I going to think like it's going to be 100%? No, but can't we make things better?
Yeah, we can make it better.
Sticky, you doing too much now. I don't like it. I don't. I'm offended. I am. I find it disgusting that you would come on here and say that. Period.
What is going on in the chats?
He said, "Bitch, keep it real." First, he say, "Get off your ass, Reese. Don't talk either. Talk is cheap, Reese. You did not stop. Keep it real. I know I don't do enough. Bitch, keep it real." He's saying, "Say what he said." He's telling you to say what he said. I don't know.
What? Who said?
I don't know.
All righty. Do we got any comments from anybody else in the room?
We had a few. Katina did say that there are books written about him. Never heard of it. Like I said, I mean, to each their own. I know it's information out here, some false, some true, some unread. But I actually never heard of him. And Gwen said it's not because they come together, it's because it has to do with most are white. They coming together for what they believe in. One community.
And she said it's because most are white.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it affects them, so you know they're gonna get it done. Yeah, they ready to come out. They was like, oh, if they discriminate against them for being black, they're gonna discriminate for. They've been doing that since the beginning of time.
Unlike most our people, at least they doing something.
And what else is they saying?
Something new just came up. She said, "Oh, Sneaky Boo Boo say what he said." The song. He wants you to say what he said.
What song?
The song you were singing. Move, V. Get out the way.
Get out the way. Oh, he want me to say the word. He wants me to say, bish. Move, bish. Get out the way. You know, I'm trying to curtail my language because I don't want to be rude and lascivious. You know, I don't want to be vulgar, rude, and lascivious. So I gotta curtail my tongue a little bit. I ain't gotta curse about everything. You know, I do have auspicious vocabulary. And if you don't know what auspicious is, look it up. That's your assignment. To look it up.
We are 9 days into the year, and we already have 7 homicides.
That's like a killing a day. That's almost
and those are the ones that were reported and make the news.
Bernice, you're right. You are absolutely right when you say that because there's so much killing that ain't even getting mentioned. So much stuff is happening that ain't even getting mentioned. Oh, girl.
It's sad.
So was there any shootings over the weekend?
Oh, it was definitely some. I just, it makes me sad. And honestly, if you take in enough of that, you'll be in depression because of things that's happening in the world. I swear.
Yeah. Hey, you mentioned something earlier about we got a new variant of the coronavirus now, another one. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But I do want to mention that Nicholas, the little boy that played, or for those who remember this TV show
they
called
it
Eight is Enough.
Something.
Called, Are we out of sync?
No.
Because I couldn't hear you. Then you came back in. That's what I'm saying. Is my thing working? Molly, we gotta make sure the stuff is working right, Molly. I don't know what that is. But the guy that played on his dead at 54 or 53, the little boy that played Nicholas on Eight is Enough. There was a TV show back when we was younger called Eight is Enough, where this guy, I forgot his name. He do the commercial. I forgot his name. That did the commercial. He played the dad, and he had 8 children. And little Nicholas is the little boy that they was the youngest child out of 8 kids. Look, Bernice, we could do our own reality show now. Cause look, you could have did yours too with all the kids when they say 8 is enough. See, wasn't thinking about that, but that was back in the day. And this guy had all these kids, and they did a TV show about growing up with the kids. And little Nicholas was the youngest. He died. A lot of people are dying from unknown complications. He was only 54. That's young. That's young. But all of these people are dying like flies. Unknown complications. Makes me wonder. I ain't even going to say what I'm thinking because y'all be saying they should go with that conspiracy stuff again. But it has come to another end of our show. And I see I'm rolling solo, closing the show out by myself. Lady B stepped away, but that's okay. We won't make it do what it do. This is the end of the show. We'll be back tomorrow. Here's some food for thought. we're going to talk about tomorrow. Civil rights and civil liberties. Know the difference. And know when your rights or your liberties has been taken away or infringed upon. Yes. Okay.